After testing positive again, I came down with a high fever. My daughter secretly poured away my medicine and sincerely prayed, "I hope Daddy dies from this fever. That way, Mommy and I can live with Uncle Josh. I want him to be my new daddy." In the end, I granted their wish. I chose to let go. But then, my wife regretted it and made a compromise. "Let's get remarried. If you still feel resentful, I'll even let you have a fling outside." The standing lamp cast a warm orange glow. My wife suddenly wrapped her arms around my waist from behind. "Honey, our daughter's already asleep. Tonight, Her eyes were hazy and seductive, but I felt nothing. I got up, pulling the quilt. Along with me, Abigail Scott dropped the act. "When are you finally signing those papers?" I had brought up divorce several times recently. She thought I was just throwing a tantrum and waiting for her to give in, hence that little seduction. Wearing a soft, silky nightdress that clung to every curve, she looked like a temptress straight from a dream. But so what? I only wanted a divorce. The sooner, the better. "Are you serious?" Her expression froze, then quickly turned cold. "No way. I'm at the peak of my career. The divorce would ruin my reputation." Oh yes, her career peak. Everyone at the company knew that the boss, Josh Martin, was her first love. They often traveled abroad under the pretense of business trips. Just the two of them. I never had solid evidence in hand. So, for the sake of my daughter and our family, I endured it again and again until just a few days ago when I tested positive again and came down with a high fever. The cold pills I'd left on the nightstand were dumped in the bathroom by my daughter. When I asked her why, she pouted and complained, "I hope Daddy dies from this fever. That way, Mommy and I can live with Uncle Josh. I want him to be my new daddy." My head buzzed, heartbroken and devastated. Since they wanted so badly to leave me, what was the point of me holding on? "Sign the papers now. I'll be generous with the assets. Otherwise, once I get the evidence I need, neither you nor Josh Martin will have peace." She slipped on her clothes, covering her pale skin. "Generous? Your little company's almost bankrupt. Your pockets are emptier than your pride. I can borrow money from him to help you through this. Just think of your precious daughter. Don't be so stubborn." "Okay." I lit a cigarette, no longer hesitating. "Are you done talking? Then sign." I'd been married to my wife for 7 years. From college graduation to marriage to parenthood. We should have been a happy family of 3 until she ran into her first love at work. Josh Martin wants me to join his company. Double the salary. I thought she was asking for my opinion. Turns out she was just informing me. I said yes. People always move toward better things. You don't mind, right? Right after saying that, she dumped our daughter on me and left on a business trip with Josh Martin. Our little daughter even tried to comfort me. "Don't worry, Daddy. Uncle Josh is really nice. He'll take good care of Mommy." I was fuming inside. She had even introduced our daughter to Josh Martin. So, I asked my daughter about him. She looked up with stars in her eyes. "Uncle Josh looks the coolest when he's spending money." I clenched my teeth in rage. I'd never denied her anything. Whatever she wanted, she got. "Lauren, you can tell Daddy what you like. I'll get it for you too." She pushed my hand away. "No, those are all limited editions. Uncle Josh is friends with the boss. You can't buy them." I looked at the pile of toys and cards and fell silent. As time passed, my wife's job grew busier and she grew colder toward me. When I tried to question her cautiously and calmly, she got angry instead. "If I do cheat on you one day, maybe you should ask yourself what kind of man you are." I choked back my frustration and focused all my energy on our daughter, trying to make her happy in every way I could until she poured away my medicine and, without the slightest attempt to hide it, called Josh Martin. "Uncle Josh, when are you coming to get me? Daddy keeps coughing. I'm scared he'll pass it to me." On the other end, I heard the man laugh. "Lauren, you're too adorable. Uncle will see you really soon." "Okay." I lay there staring at the ceiling blank. Turns out, despair and helplessness are emotions you can feel physically. Then my dad messaged me. "Son, the demolition deal for your mom and my place came through. The number on the contract, it's like a dream come true. Have you told Abigail yet? When are you bringing Lauren back? Your mom and I already made plans. Transfer Lauren to a top school. Prep her to study abroad. Everything's all set." I smiled bitterly and replied, "I'll come back after the divorce. Yeah, it's just me now." If Abigail knew we struck it rich, she'd probably scream in excitement. She might even quit her job and come back to me. But I don't want to use the word gold digger on her because she wasn't always like this. Abigail Scott used to be the campus beauty, the one whose name appeared most often on our university's confession wall. To win her heart, I joined the basketball team, ran for student body president, and saved up to buy her gifts. I even secretly got up every night to hand copy the Shanleen Fu for a month straight. It was a crazy, burning youth. One rainy day, she and I walked one after the other, deliberately keeping our distance. Suddenly, she stopped and stepped back toward me. I instinctively took a few steps back as well. Then, without warning, she spun around, Caught off guard, I hurriedly glanced around, trying to act casual. She walked over with her umbrella, her ponytail swaying in the breeze. The air was thick with the raw scent of rain-soaked earth and grass, vivid, fresh, and intense. My heart pounded like a drum. In just a blink, she was standing in front of me. She tilted her umbrella toward me, shielding me from the rain. She opened her mouth to say something, and somehow the noisy downpour around us seemed to fade into silence. My mind went completely blank, and I blurted out, "I do." She rolled her eyes beautifully and said in a soft voice, "Hold the umbrella, your hair is soaking wet." Then her ears turned bright red, and she mumbled under her breath, "I do." "What are you even saying, you dummy?" We dated steadily for a few years, graduated, and got married. That night, her eyes burned into mine as she said, "Remember, you were the one who pursued me first. You're my only husband in this lifetime. No matter what happens, don't ever leave me." I nodded like crazy and held up 3 fingers to swear it. Even her first love, Josh Martin, came to find her before our wedding. "Abigail Scott, I regret everything. Cancel the wedding. Let's start over." But she blocked him right in front of me. "No way. I chose him, and it will only ever be him." After marriage, we had a child and our own careers. Life was plain but deeply happy. Abigail was fiercely ambitious. She had no connections, no background, but fought her way from a rookie to department head. She was sharp, decisive, and stepped on many toes along the way. I felt bad seeing her isolated, but she brushed it off coolly. "If you're not elite, step aside. I don't have time to care what losers think." Unfortunately, I hadn't even gotten the chance to tell her about my parents' house getting scheduled for demolition and the absurd amount of money that came with it. Then I saw a WeChat chat post she quickly deleted. It was a necklace Josh Martin had once given her, kept carefully in an elegant box. The caption was just one sentence. Would the ending be different if I'd made a different choice back then? The next morning, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to file for divorce. She even woke up early to do her makeup. Flawless. We didn't say a word on the way there. When it was our turn to sit down and begin the paperwork, she suddenly spoke. "Are you really sure about this? We've been married for so many years. Do we really have to take it this far? Have you ever thought that maybe it's you who's being too narrow-minded, too short-sighted?" I impatiently handed her the pen. "Cut the crap. Since you and our daughter both prefer Josh Martin, why should I keep suffering in the middle? Just sign it." She narrowed her eyes and slowly pulled out a new agreement from her bag. "Fine, 3 conditions. 1, our daughter stays with me. You're not allowed to see her without my permission. 2, I keep the house. You get the car. You're not obligated to pay child support. 3, after the divorce, you can't go around spreading rumors about Josh and me. If people ask, just say we grew apart and separated peacefully." She had planned it all along, waiting for this moment to pull out her terms. I wanted to ask her if she didn't want to divorce me, because she still had feelings, or if she was just worried about her reputation. But I was too naive. Happiness is a blur. Pain, however, stays sharp. I didn't hesitate. I calmly signed my name. "Let's just get this over with." She looked momentarily stunned, probably not expecting me to agree so quickly. When we walked out of the registry office, Abigail stood there for a few seconds before finally calling out to me, "You gave up the house just to get this divorce. Do you hate me that much?" I stopped and let out a long breath. "I did. When I saw that hickey on your chest, I really wanted to slap you, but I don't hate her anymore. And I'm not broken anymore either. Life only gives you about 30,000 days. This chapter, she's no longer in it." Her eyes flickered in panic before she said coldly, "Luke Adams, believe it or not, that only happened once." I walked ahead, completely ignoring her. I remembered how I used to lecture my roommates in college. "Guys, don't be a love-struck fool." But when it came to me back then, hands in my pockets, there wasn't a simp in the world who could top me. In the end, the simp who married the campus goddess still lost. So be it. At least now I'm awake. Packing took me half a day. I hired a moving company to store everything in my company's storage room temporarily. On the last trip, Lauren finally woke up, rubbing her eyes. She was clearly annoyed. "Daddy, I'm hungry. Where's the food you made?" I turned off my phone screen and pulled a $100 bill from my bag. "Figure it out yourself. I'm moving out." She clapped, her hands in delight, grinning from ear to ear. "Yay, Daddy, you're finally leaving. I'm going to tell Uncle Josh the good news right now." I rubbed my temples. "Lauren Mitchell, you may never see me again. Will you miss Daddy?" She tilted her little head and thought for a second. "It's okay. I'll just change my name to Rachel Forster. That way, Uncle Josh can be my new daddy. Just go. No one's asking you to stay." I didn't understand how I could fail so completely as a father. I gave her everything, balanced meals every day, supported all her hobbies and interests. Even when she said something so cold it nearly broke me, I still couldn't bring myself to blame her. I crouched down and gently patted her head. "Lauren, if you're ever unhappy in the future, call Dad, okay?" Before I could even finish, She turned and bolted toward the door. It was Abigail Scott. She had returned. Behind her was the man whose name alone made my blood boil. Josh Martin. Josh walked in like he owned the place, casually switching into house slippers. Completely ignoring me, he scooped Lauren up in his arms. "Little Lauren, I came to see you the moment I got back. Did you miss me?" Lauren gave him a big kiss on the cheek. I clenched my fists so tightly they trembled. I nearly lost control. Abigail noticed it all. She deliberately stepped aside to make room at the door. "Just move your things. Don't worry about us." Josh finally gave me a smug look and then turned to her. "This place is way too small. Sell it as soon as you can. I've picked out a new place for you and Lauren. It's big enough for all her toys too. Have their own room." I didn't respond. I quietly walked out the door. Abigail followed me out and held out her palm. "Luke Adams, give me the spare key." I didn't even turn my head. "It's on the table." She tossed a folded umbrella at me. "It's raining outside." I didn't catch it. The rain was pouring even harder now. Thick mist blurring the view, so much that even the cars down the road looked like smudges. I got into the car soaking wet. In the rearview mirror, I could see Abigail still standing there, but her face was obscured. I couldn't see her expression. But we both knew one thing very clearly: there was no going back. The next day, I drove back to the city where my parents lived. Just as expected, I was locked out. My dad shouted from inside, "Are you out of your damn mind? Why should you let our granddaughter go just like that? What if she ends up with a stepdad? You think your mom and I can sleep peacefully at night?" "No, absolutely not. Tell her to make some concessions. Ask for money if you have to. We're so rich now. We're practically broke in every other way." They made their point very clear. I wasn't allowed back in until I brought Lauren with me. With no other choice, I sat on the steps, bored out of my mind, and lit a cigarette. Suddenly, a small head peeked out from next door. Big round eyes stared at me. "Uncle, please don't smoke here." I quickly stood up and stubbed out the cigarette. "Sorry about that." The little girl curiously examined me, then took a step outside, but she tripped over the doorstep and lost her balance. "Careful," I quickly caught her. Just as I grasped her little hand, smack, a loud slap exploded next to my ear. By the time I processed what happened, a woman was already raising her hand to slap me again. I stopped her. "Wait, what are you hitting me for?" Her face still brimming with fury. "You've been following us, haven't you? And you still dare to ask why? Today, I'll show you what a true Badju engine master is." I was completely baffled. The little girl stepped in front of me protectively and shook her head hard. The woman narrowed her eyes, finally calming down. She brushed her hair behind her ear and asked coldly, "Brulin, James is defending you. That means you're not a bad guy, so, tell me, who sent you?" I rubbed my sore cheek and snapped, "This little villa is my house. I just stepped out for a smoke and got slapped for it." The woman had striking features with seductive cat-eye makeup and a fiery figure and attitude. Still, I had this gut feeling she was about to kick me square in the chest. She gave an "oh," grabbed the girl's hand, and turned back toward their house. I was stunned. "Don't you think you owe me an apology for hitting the wrong person?" She paused and looked back. "Nice house. You're technically a rich second generation now, aren't you? Can't you be a little more generous? I didn't even complain about how your face rubbed against me. I opened my mouth but had no idea how to respond. The little girl covered her mouth and giggled at me, her eyes sparkling. She was pretty adorable. They went back inside. As for my parents, they were seriously ruthless. I sat outside for 5 straight hours, and they still didn't let me in. Eventually, I fell asleep leaning against the wall. I had just dozed off when pain shot through my shoulder. Something kicked me hard. I opened my eyes to see a pair of long pale legs in front of me. Of course, it was her again. I almost laughed out of disbelief. "What the hell? Why'd you kick me? I wasn't even sleeping outside your door." She was flustered, almost frantic, yanking at my clothes. "Come on, hurry. Brooklyn James just got kidnapped." I ran across the street as fast as I could, the woman right behind me. "Aren't you supposed to be a Badru engine expert?" She panted, still trying to act tough. "That slap earlier used up all my energy." "Okay, hurry. Don't let him get away on that motorbike. You chase him. I'll call the cops." Thinking of the little girl's sweet face, I charged forward with everything I had. The guy on the motorcycle hadn't yet picked up speed. I tackled him off the bike just in time, and the girl fell along with us. I shielded her head with my arms. My right arm got crushed under the weight of the motorcycle. The pain was sharp, excruciating. The kidnapper didn't even bother with the bike. He scrambled to his feet and ran off, stumbling all the way. The woman finally arrived, scooped up Brooklyn, and examined her carefully to make sure she was unharmed. Only then did she look down and notice me lying there on the ground, face purple with pain. Taken to the hospital. X-rays showed a minor fracture in my right hand that would take some time to heal. I asked the woman, frustrated, "Why haven't the police arrived yet?" She avoided my gaze before admitting the truth. "That man was sent by Brooklyn James's father. He wasn't going to hurt her. I just panicked. Fury surged through me. I raised my left hand, pointing at her, ready to explode. Before I could say a word, she clasped my hand with both of hers and pleaded loudly, "Please don't yell at me in front of the kid." Passersby in the hospital hallway stopped and started whispering. "Seriously, hitting your wife in public? Girl, don't tolerate domestic violence, divorce him fast." I flushed with rage. I didn't. She pressed her hand over my mouth. "Honey, don't be mad. I never wanted to leave you." Then she leaned in and whispered sweetly in my ear, "I know your parents locked you out. Consider this compensation. I'll take care of you until your arm heals. Okay, damn it." She was pouting. What could I do? With a beautiful woman as my nurse, I couldn't exactly say no. She brought me back to her place. Turns out she also lived in the same city I worked in. With my right hand out of commission, I kicked back, crossed my legs, and waited for dinner. "Hey," I asked, "why did your ex try to kidnap Brooklyn James, like this was some kind of soap opera plot?" Brooklyn James sat beside me, waving her hands excitedly. I just coached her through winning her game. The woman, Malene Stone, as she now introduced herself, placed a freshly seared steak on my plate. "First of all, I'm not Hey. My name is Malene Stone. Second, I don't have a husband." Brooklyn James snatched my fork and insisted on feeding me. "Open up, God." Daddy Malene slapped the table. "Brooklyn James, don't call him that. One more time and I'll deal with you, too." Brooklyn stuck her tongue out. "But you called him husband, so that makes him my goddaddy, right?" Malene's expression twisted between red and black, growing more flustered by the second. Just then, I got a text from Lauren. The tone was oddly formal. "Tomorrow is my birthday. Are you coming? Not without your mom's permission." What if she says yes? Will you come then? Hard to say. I'd need her confirmation first. On her birthday, I sent a gift to her house via courier. An early morning delivery. It was a Disney Castle Lego set. She'd once told me she wanted both her parents to build it with her. Abigail Scott had refused at the store back then, saying she didn't have time to spend 10+ hours on something like that. Maybe sensing I wasn't in the best mood, Malene Stone, who had been feeding me steak every day, offered to take me out for a good meal. I didn't expect to run into Lauren and Abigail Scott at the restaurant. Lauren saw me first. She was about to call out, but the moment she noticed Brooklyn James holding my hand, she turned away, pretending not to see me. I took a step forward to greet her when Malene Stone suddenly emerged from a private room, nearly giving me a heart attack. She was stunning to begin with, and today she had gone all out with sultry makeup and a sleek black dress. Those fox-like eyes were lethal, her movements dripping with seduction. Everyone in the restaurant turned to look at her. Compared to Abigail's cold, innocent beauty, Malene was pure fire and danger. Abigail gave her a glance, then looked at me, her expression unreadable. Just then, Josh Martin came out with the manager and sneered. "Adam Brooks, didn't you say that private room was reserved for me?" The manager ignored him and bowed to Malene Stone. "Miss, your dishes are all prepared, just as requested." Malene walked over, took Brooklyn James's other hand, and smiled at me. "Let's go. Time for dinner." Brooklyn beamed. "Yeah, Daddy, and God, Mommy is the best." Josh Martin snorted and muttered coldly, "Luke Adams, you must have rehearsed that little show. We hadn't seen each other in over 2 weeks, and now he calls me out. What's that supposed to mean?" I asked. Josh Martin rolled up his sleeves, showing off a Rolex and shaking it for emphasis. "I mean, hiring such a gorgeous woman must have cost you all that just to save face. Come on, don't blow your life savings. It's pathetic." Abigail frowned. "You're still as immature as ever." Malene let go of Brooklyn's hand and turned to face Josh, her expression icy. My heart skipped a beat. Was she about to hit someone again? "She's not I am the one he hired," Malene cut in with a smirk. I rubbed my temples. "What now?" Josh grinned and slung an arm around Abigail's waist. She stiffened but didn't resist. "A broke loser like him. How much could he offer you?" "I'll double it." "Clock. Out early." "Yeah." His voice was sleazy, loaded with insinuation. Melon fiddled with her necklace. "Custom jewelry, 1.2 million. Then, she showed off the jade bracelet on her wrist. 980,000. She looped her arm through mine. All gifts from Luke Adams while he was pursuing me. "You sure you can double that?" Josh's smile froze. He scoffed. "Cheap knockoffs. You actually believe what he tells you?" Melon's voice turned cutting. Typical poor man's ignorance. No taste, no knowledge. She flipped her hair. "Anyway, today is my birthday. Adam Brooks. Get them out of here. I don't want them ruining my mood." Adam Brooks grinned as he started shoving Josh Martin toward the door. "You heard her. Scram this whole restaurant belongs to Miss Koo." Abigail Scott held Lauren's hand, her expression somewhat grim. As Lauren passed me, she softly murmured, "Dad." But my mind was entirely focused on the fact that today was Malene Stone's birthday. I picked up Brooklyn James in my arms and strode away without so much as a glance at Lauren. She couldn't take that kind of humiliation. she broke free from Abigail Scott's hand and shouted, "Dad, today is my birthday." Abigail Scott's eyes landed on me as well. I held Brooklyn James and didn't even look back. Happy birthday. Lauren stood frozen in place. After that, I didn't hear anything from Abigail Scott or my daughter for a long time. During that period, I stayed at Mellon Stone's house to recover. She often took Brooklyn, James and me out to try new restaurants, taking pictures everywhere we went. Mellon Stone and I were always bickering. Brooklyn James would shake her head and sigh, "You grown-ups are unbelievable." That kind of life gave me an odd sense of peace. Godfather, my mom's getting back together with my dad, and I'm being taken. Back home, Brooke and James clung to my arm, clearly reluctant. "Before I go home, can you and Godmom promise me one thing?" Mellon Stone suddenly remembered something and widened her eyes in panic, rushing forward to cover Brooklyn James's mouth. Unfortunately, she was a second too late. Brooklyn James said, "Just try really hard and give me a baby brother to play with." I awkwardly patted her head and glanced at Mellon Stone, whose face was now glowing red. "Sure, God, Dad will try super hard." Mellon Stone slammed the door and left, leaving Brooklyn James stunned. After her mom picked her up, the house felt strangely empty. I wasn't used to the quiet. That evening, it was just me and Mellon Stone at the dinner table. She picked at her food without eating or saying a word. The atmosphere was tense. "Your injuries healed, haven't they? Don't tell me you plan to freeload here forever." I didn't deny it. "Why not?" She put down her chopsticks. "Kids say things without thinking. You can't take it seriously. You're a divorced man with a child. I could never be into someone like you." "I'm Mellon Stone. Why would I like you? Even if you were some rich second-generation heir, I still absolutely wouldn't like you." I took her hand and leaned in. Okay, I get it, but what's with the stuttering?" She tried to pull her hand away. Flustered, I leaned in closer. Our noses nearly touched, our eyes locked. Her lips were right in front of mine. Unfortunately, my phone rang. She used the moment to get up and walk away. "Abigail Scott, what do you want?" I said as I answered. Hearing the name, Mellon Stone paused mid-step, then circled back and sat down again. "Luke Adams, I'm getting engaged to Josh Martin." I replied coolly, "Congratulations. I wish you happiness in your second marriage." She paused, surprised. "Your parents reached out to me. I wanted to see you one last time before the engagement." Abigail Scott asked to meet me at a restaurant near our old university, the one we used to go to a lot. When we walked in, the owner recognized us and greeted us warmly. "Wow, it's been years. Didn't expect you two to still be together. Come, have a seat." Abigail Scott didn't say much. Just looked down at the menu. I tried talking several times, but she told me not to say anything. Just eat. When the food came, she kept putting dishes on my plate. I lowered my head and ate. Afterward, we strolled through the tree-lined path on campus. She finally spoke. "Luke Adams, do you think I'm materialistic?" I scratched my nose. "My company only has a few people. We develop small-scale games. No floor-to-ceiling windows, no fancy coffee machines. But we're all passionate, working toward a common goal. But every time you came to visit, you looked at my colleagues and me with disdain and disapproval." She looked dazed. Back then, I did get a bit carried away. The people at the company I worked for were always comparing things. What people wore, their bags, their husbands, their houses, cars, even background and education. It felt like if you were lacking in anything, you were automatically beneath them, forced to bow your head. So, she chose Josh Martin, who had better conditions. But why was she bringing all this up now? Was she asking for forgiveness? I didn't say anything. "Your parents came to me. They talked about the compensation from their house being demolished, and said they could give Lauren a better life. Luke Adams, for Lauren's sake, I'm willing to consider remarrying you. Today, I want your answer. Otherwise, I'll really go through with the engagement with Josh Martin. After that, we'll be done forever." Her voice got softer, a hint of pain flickering in her eyes. "Okay." Her dim eyes lit up. She could hardly believe what she'd heard. "I knew it. You still love me." "What I meant was, go ahead and get engaged," I said calmly. "There was never anything between us to begin with." Her eyes turned red, her voice stiff. "If it's because you're feeling bitter, go have a fling. 2. I won't make a fuss." That kind of thing would have been unthinkable for Abigail Scott to say before, but now she was willing to compromise for the sake of remarriage. "You've fallen for that vixen-looking woman, haven't you?" She stared at me like she was trying to read my soul. "She's just after your money, after your family's little demolition payout." Luke Adams, open your eyes. You're really going to fall for any random woman. All the things she'd said before hadn't fazed me. But the moment she mentioned Mellon Stone, I got annoyed. My parents' neighbor, that entire building belongs to her. Abigail's face darkened. She gave a bitter laugh. "So you're the one chasing her. You're a divorced man with a kid. Why would a woman like her ever want someone like you?" Luke Adams, stop dreaming. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her. If you said what you wanted to say, let's go our separate ways, I've got things to do. She followed behind me. Just like years ago, when I used to hook my pinky around hers, she tried to do the same, her fingertip brushing against my palm. I slapped her hand away with a smack. Please have some self-respect. Leaving her frozen in place, I took long strides and quickly exited the campus. Malene Stone honked from the side of the road. I got in the car, and our eyes met in the air, still playing out some cheesy drama on campus, holding hands and all. She asked. I shrugged hardly. She turned her eyes back to the road, started the car, and steered calmly. She was right. You're a divorced man. How could a woman as beautiful and accomplished as me possibly fall for someone like you? I helplessly retorted, what about it? What's so wrong with being divorced if it's not the right fit? Should I just settle for the rest of my life? Who can guarantee the first woman they fall for will be the one they grow old with? Malene's slender fingers tapped the steering wheel lightly. Her tone softened. Don't get mad. I'm saying you can daydream. Luke Adams, how about I make that dream come true? When my daughter showed up clutching her Lego set, her eyes were swollen from crying. There's no denying the bond of blood. I couldn't stay indifferent. She had red-rimmed eyes and asked me to hold her. Daddy, I helped her into the car. Josh, Martin's niece and nephew keep bullying me. They tore up my books. Daddy, I don't want his last name anymore. She was hiccuping between sobs. Do you still want me? While driving, a dull ache settled in my chest. You were the one who said you wished Daddy would die from a fever. Thinking back on how I'd been during that time, I felt ridiculous. She pouted. Daddy, I'm sorry. I sighed. Lauren Mitchell, you're not a little kid anymore. You have your own thoughts. You treated me that way because deep down you believed Josh Martin was better than your dad. And now that you've been bullied, you come running back to me, suddenly missing how I treated you. I'm your dad. I could never abandon you, but you still have to take responsibility for what you did. I brought her to my parents' house. She'd live with her grandparents from now on. As I was about to leave, she ran out after me. Daddy, will you still take me with you once you have a new family? I patted her head. As long as you behave and truly understand your mistakes, Daddy will always love you. She nodded fiercely. A few days later, my dad called. Lauren had sold her treasured cards and toys secondhand. She donated all the money to children in impoverished mountain areas. My parents promised they wouldn't spoil her and would take her education and upbringing seriously. They'd retired early and were thrilled to finally have their granddaughter to look after. Abigail Scott still married Josh Martin. I saw her wedding photo from a friend. Her lips curved slightly, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. So, you finally got what you wanted. Will the ending of your story make you happy? Time moved forward at its own pace. My company, which had been shut down for a while, finally saw new progress. One of my team members came to me with evidence. Luke, we found it. It's someone named Josh Martin who's been targeting us. He used his position to sign off and even embezzled public funds. No wonder our efforts got zero market feedback. No matter how hard we worked, I've already sent the evidence to the police. He's definitely going to jail. I'd always known Josh Martin was vindictive. He had to get everything he wanted, but I never expected he'd go as far as sabotaging me just to win back Abigail Scott. He did all this only to highlight his own success. I called together my company staff. They were my university friends, my brothers in arms. We were once passionate, young dreamers. We vowed in our youth to be the best, to build a great game company from scratch. But because of Josh Martin's spite, our efforts had been wasted. To make up for it, I poured enough funds back in and reignited our fire to develop new games. Everything was finally back on track. Except for Abigail Scott. She came to me multiple times because of Josh Martin's situation. You hate me, don't you? That's why you're doing this, to get back at me, right? Thunder rumbled outside. Rain poured down. She kept pressing the doorbell. That way, Mommy and I can live with Uncle Josh. I want him to be my new daddy. I don't. Malene Stone and I were in bed, breathing heavily. Kisses fell gently and hungrily across her skin. She clung weakly to my shoulders, eyes dazed with desire. My ex-wife is so noisy, it's annoying, she murmured. I got up and turned on the hallway light, walking to the door. Malene slipped off the bed and hugged my waist, her smooth skin pressed against my back, her scent enveloping me, the temperature around us rising. I turned and pinned her against the wall, overcome with passion. She bit my lip. You've got 3 minutes to get rid of her, or you're cut off for a month. I threw on some clothes and opened the door. Abigail Scott's face, streaked with tears and exhaustion, was like nothing I'd ever seen before. The marks on my neck, left there, intentionally by Malene, were clearly visible. Abigail's eyes lingered on them. Her voice was barely audible. So, this is what losing someone feels like. I'm sorry. I was the one who lost you first. She staggered as she turned away, almost falling into the elevator. I watched her back as I mentally counted down 3 minutes. I no longer wanted to waste my energy on the past.